Welcome to Meet the CIO, a new career-oriented interview series presented by the IT Executives Council. My name is Lindsay Brown, Executive Director of the IT Executives Council, and today I'm very excited to present our latest Meet the CIO interview. In this interview series, we interview top IT executives from some of the most interesting companies and organizations in the world. These interviews provide our members and subscribers with invaluable firsthand insights as they focus on career tips, advice, and ultimately secrets to success. With that, there's no better time to introduce our panelist, Maria Haight. Maria is currently the Chief Information Officer at TGI Direct. Maria has been in IT leadership for more than 20 years across multiple industries: marketing, financial services, CPG, telecom, and medical software, with some great companies like TGI Direct, Zeal Credit Union, Kellogg Community Credit Union, Kellogg Co, Nortel Networks, and Medical Software. Many of her roles were supporting marketing initiatives, but also traditional IT and cybersecurity. Maria, welcome, and thanks so much for joining us today. I'll let you share a little bit about your current role and background before we get to the Q&A today.
Sounds great. Hi, Lindsay. Thank you for having me. Yes, I'm the CIO and also the CISO here at TGI Direct. Been here just over a year and wonderful company. We're coming in doing some great transformation work here, such a collaborative team. It's a new industry for me, Lindsay. I got to tell you, it's the most exciting part of being in the IT space is that, as you mentioned, I've been in a multitude of industries, which I think is really great to be able to take best practices and not necessarily just focus on one industry for 20, 30 years. And so I think it's helped me get the best breed of different things that I've seen that work across in all kinds of industries.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And with that background, I'm very excited to get to our Q&A session today. So we'll start, from the very, very beginning. What inspired you to pursue a career in information technology?
I got to tell you, it's a crazy story. I was actually back in junior high school, and I was part of a group that was involved with computers. I feel like I'm aging myself when I say this, but it was some of the early computers like the Apple IIc and the IIe, and I somehow volunteered to go to my local senior citizen kind of community center and offer to teach them how to write lines of code. Why would one do that? I have no idea. I literally sat, I remember still in this senior community with monitor screens and line 10, how to start off and teach them just little things. And the goal was, uh, you know, my generation at that time was beginning to become the first ones to use more computers as part of daily life. And I didn't want generations prior to mine, my grandparents, my parents, to be nervous about them, right? And I just thought sitting down and doing something as silly as, writing little lines of code to say hi across the screen or something like that would give them some comfort as the world was changing around them. And that really kind of kicked it all off.
That's great. That's a great story.
Mhm.
All right. What are the roles and responsibilities of a CIO, and how has that changed over time?
Yeah, it has changed dramatically over time. And, when I think of all the things that I do think a CIO should be responsible for, um, certainly it's making sure you have a very sound footprint for your environment, for your network, whether it's cloud, hybrid, on-prem, doesn't matter, right? You need to be financially and fiscally responsible. I hate wasting money. I don't want to just spend money for the sake of money, and I think a lot of CIOs don't either, but we always come a little sheepish to that budgeting round where we're asking for what feels like ungodly sums of money. And it's also, typically for health and wellness, but then we also have projects that we want to get done. And making sure that the projects that we want are meeting the responsibilities and needs of our business partners, right? We got to be sitting, talking, and having conversations with them. What are their goals? Gosh, what are our clients' goals? And are we building things in the right way? Or at least, am I aware enough so that I can think about short term and long term goals to get us there? So I think, again, financially responsible, security, utmost, right? Most CIOs want to sleep well at night and knowing that they have great vendors in place, great security measures in place to be able to keep the company safe are huge. But I do think the biggest change has been that business partner engagement and really talking to them, and more important, listening as to where the company wants to go, what their changing needs are, and building and changing accordingly. And I do think you should also be enticing them with new things that you're hearing about too, that they may not even thought about were available yet in the technology space, and yet they are.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that. I mean, one of the main things that's been echoed with all of these CIOs we talk to is the real change from a really technical role to more of a business leader and change agent. So that's just something we hear time and time again, and something we're analyzing in some of our upcoming studies.
That's great.
All right. And now what do you think is the most interesting technology project you have worked on?
This is hands down. So when I was at Kellogg Company, and we built a team for digital that was brand new to the company, we built something that was kind of unheard of in the CPG spaces. We built a loyalty program, and it was called Kellogg's Family Rewards. And I worked with some amazing people and amazing vendor partners. And we put together a loyalty program when we were a B2B business. Now think about that. A loyalty program for consumers, right, who are going into grocery stores, purchasing product. We don't own that relationship, right? The retailers do. But yet it was the Kellogg's loyalty program, and it was whole based around giving mom more value for something she's already doing. So basically what this was it was a code on pack. It turned into receipts as well that you could scan, but the initial concept was codes on pack that showed that you bought a particular product, and maybe the value of that product was different than other products, and so you got points. And then yes, like any program, you eventually can redeem those points for all kinds of goodies, or donate to your charity or your school of choice. And it was wildly successful. I just was saddened. Just last year, I saw that it was finally going to be phased out, but it lasted a solid 10 years, and I do think drove great amounts of new sales. And also, I just think that that loyalty from a customer perspective that today in brands just doesn't exist as much as it used to at one point in time. Again, it was wonderful because we did something that was cutting edge. It was more wonderful because of the people and the vendor partners that all came together with great ideas and an amazing execution for a program that I will always be wildly pleased with.
Yeah, that's very interesting. You don't hear often a loyalty program for B2B, right?
Right, exactly.
Very cool. Hopefully some of our viewers are familiar with that loyalty program. All right. So next up, what have been the most significant keys to your success?
I think always being hungry to learn, never wanting to be necessarily what I'll call the smartest person in the room, right? I want to be surrounded by really smart people. I want smart people on my team as I hire them, right? I think it's being humble that I will not always have by any means the right solution, but that collaborative experience with my team, with my peers. Oh my gosh, the whiteboarding, the solutions out, thinking through all of that. And I think just being open to that collaborative style, again, whether it was with my own team, whether it was with my peers, until we came up with something that together we felt was going to get us to the right next step or the right end goal to make the project or the program successful.
Yeah, I really like that one. Now we are doing a study upcoming on the state of IT talent, so that has some implications for the team, which we're hearing echoed over and over again, the challenges around recruiting and retention, especially lately. So that's just something to look forward to on our end. So I'm glad you mentioned that one. All right. Now, are there any tools or solutions that help you be more effective in your role?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that may have been, job specific over different periods of my career. But I think tools that you can utilize, whatever that means to you, to keep an eye on your budget, on your spend. I mean, making buddies with the CFO is the best thing you can do as a CIO, right? That they also there's that trust, that you are keeping an eye on that, and that you can speak to your spend and your invoicing, and if something did go off there, this will always go off the rails a little bit, right? unexpected items and issues and projects are going to come at you. And having, done your due diligence on your analysis and why we should do this project and why maybe this should trump that thing that we were really planning for and do this instead. So again, whether that's a tool like a solution or just a tool that you can pull out of your toolkit that says this is how to handle that solution. And then other solutions could be things that just help you maybe project manage a little bit, because I do think that's another thing that IT leadership really needs at their disposal, is being able to see very clearly everything that we're working on, everything that we're planning to work on across the year, to make sure our resources are allocated okay, and that we didn't overextend ourselves in somewhere to just then hurt a expectation on another project. So I think project management tools can also be very valuable to IT leadership.
Those are great suggestions. Now, our favorite question, perhaps, for everyone, what advice would you give to others that seek a career as a CIO?
I think networking with other IT leaders across industries, and I'm going to underline that again, across industries. I think it's very easy to get blinders on when you stay within your own industry, because you're really just looking at what others are doing within that narrow scope. I had a wonderful opportunity when I was at Kellogg Company, not necessarily just to network with other CPGs. It was really more, hey, Ford Motor Company is just down the street. We're both in Michigan. Let's introduce ourselves to some of them, even Coca-Cola, and being able to talk to people very various. But guess what? We were using some similar tools, and we were all running into the same problems. And we weren't giving away the special sauce. We were just saying, how are you looking to solve that problem with a technology? Have you tried this? Was this something that worked for you? Again, no one's giving away trade secrets. It's really just about hearing different positions. And I think a lot of events that people go to, it's those case studies everybody wants to hear about. What went right? And doggone what went wrong too, right? Let's help each other. You don't have to learn it the same way I did. If I can help you get to the second step a little bit easier, a little bit faster, I'm happy to do that, because I'm hoping somebody will do that for me down the road too.
Yeah, I love that one, especially the across industries, which is not something that we've talked about a lot, especially with your background across so many industries. So great firsthand insight there. All right, great. Well, Maria, thank you so much for sharing these insights with our viewers. If you found today's session valuable, please be sure to visit our website to see a list of upcoming interviews. And if you're interested in participating, please feel free to visit the URL on your screen, itexecutivescouncil.org/meettheCIO. All right, well, thanks again for your time, and great success to you, Maria, and all of our viewers in 2023 and beyond.
Thanks, Lindsay.